Welcome to Switch Comics. My name is Marco, and it is Wednesday, new comic book day yet again, here every week. Before we get into it though, let me quickly remind you about my giveaway. At 600 subscribers, I am giving away these 3 sweet books to 3 random winners of the channel. Now all you got to do to win is make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment on this video, or any video actually, any comment you've ever put on my channel. 1 comment per video, that is, will get you entered into the giveaway. I'm giving these away at 600, so it is coming up, so definitely check that out. Make sure, just comment, just leave a comment. That's all you gotta do, just talk about some comics with me, and I'll give you some comics. It's a pretty sweet deal, I think. Now, let's go ahead and get into it. So, starting off here, make sure you pick up your Marvel previews, because it's pretty sweet. As you can see here, you got Ghost Rider on the cover. We're getting a new, I presume, ongoing Ghost Rider, which is pretty sweet. There is a super amazing Momoko cover and an Inyuk Lee cover for Ghost Rider, and lots of other cool things as well, obviously. So definitely pick it up so you know what's coming out. I preach this all the time, and, you know, I don't know how many of y'all check it out, because me working at a comic shop, I see so many people that are just like, oh, I had no idea this was coming out. It's right here. We give you the knowledge for free. Check it out. You can go to any LCS and you'll pick up a copy for free. So, getting in, obviously we're going to start with Marvel. We got Venom #2. This is a super sweet cover. I really dig it. Obviously, in reference to Eddie Brock being, well, I guess spoiler for issue #1. But, you know, he was under attack, we'll say, in the last issue. And this thing was pretty sweet. I'm enjoying the new direction on Venom here. I'm trying to remember, because now I have actually the privilege, and it's really nice. I'm so used to every week I get all my books in on the same day, and I have to read them and make this video all, you know, the night before. And now that we've switched over to getting our Marvel stuff from Penguin, we get our stuff like almost a week early, and it's really nice. The downfall is sometimes I actually have to think about it. It's like, what did happen in this comic book? But yeah, we're definitely setting up, and like I said, there's some cool stuff. I was a little unsure going into this series if it was just going to focus on Dylan, which would have been fine if it did, but I like going back and forth between Dylan's got this new stuff going on, you know, dealing with being the new Venom, and then Eddie Brock is, you know, this symbiote god, you know, the King in Black now. So I enjoy going back and forth between the two of them, and I'm really excited to see what plans they have for the series, because it's starting off pretty dang good. Now, we have some Death of Doctor Strange tie-ins, and I think it was 2 weeks ago there was 2 other Death of Doctor Strange. It was Avengers and what was the other? Strange Academy. I wasn't super keen on them. I was like, because, you know, with tie-ins, it's a little controversial. Some people have to read them all, and some people are like, no, I hate tie-ins. They never progress the story and this and that or whatever, or rarely progress the story. I get it. I understand. However, and you know, it could be said that these don't necessarily progress the story a ton either. It's just little extra tidbits. So starting off with Death of Doctor Strange, Amazing Spider-Man. So this is following the Ben Reilly Spider-Man, but also has Black Cat in it, written by Jed MacKay, so the guy that's writing Death of Doctor Strange. Also, you know, other good things, and Black Cat as well. He's doing some stuff with Spider-Man, and I'm very tempted, after reading this issue, I'm very tempted to read anything that he's working on, because I know he's written a few issues, I think, or maybe just 2 or 3 issues of Spider-Man, and I think some or all of them include Black Cat. And again, I'm loving his run on Black Cat. I thought this was a super fun run. There's a little cameo appearance of someone I wasn't expecting that I was very excited to see. And after reading it, I was like, well, I guess I could have seen that coming, knowing who's writing this and everything. That's as much of a spoiler as I'll give you. But basically, Felicia's not happy with Ben Reilly. Now, I should also mention that I'm not reading Spider-Man, so I don't really know what's going on with Spider-Man. I do know that Ben Reilly is now Spider-Man. I think he's getting his own title, or maybe he's just Spider-Man from this point on or something. I don't really know. I'm not really reading it. I don't really know what's going on. So, but apparently something happened to Peter Parker. He's hospitalized. I don't know what happened. But Felicia's not, you know, not a big fan of Ben. and just giving it to him how you're not really Spider-Man, or she even said like some kind of mean things like, aren't you happy, isn't this what you wanted, now you get to be Spider-Man. And so, but I almost said Death is Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is dead, so he leaves this message, contingency plan message for Spider-Man, saying, I have some mess I need you to take care of, because I'm sure everything's going to be crazy when I die. So that message, they're at the hospital with Peter Parker when that happens, because it just floats over Peter Parker. So both Ben and Felicia get to read that, or not read it, but listen to it or whatever. And they're like, well, okay, I don't really like you, but we should go take care of this stuff. And it was just a laundry list of bad guys that they had to go beat up, more or less. And I thought it was pretty fun. Obviously towards the end of the comic, they come to get a bit closer and more respecting of each other. And again, I just really like anything he's writing. He's got a really solid grasp of everything he's doing right now. The only thing I haven't read is like that Avengers Tech On stuff. But maybe I should, because I've enjoyed everything else. So maybe I should go check that out. If you've read it, let me know. And then we picked up Death of Doctor Strange, White Fox. This is the Momoko cover. And, this was the cover B, and I just thought it was beautiful. I didn't care super much for the cover A. This one, the Spider-Man, I thought cover A and cover B were both gorgeous. I ended up going with, I think, the cover A. I went with the cover A on that one. I thought it was just a little bit better. I thought they were pretty close. But this one was like, which you all know, I'm a Momoko fan. So, and I know it's not for everybody, but I do think that is a beautiful cover. And, this one was fun too. I've been enjoying, I haven't read too much, I haven't read Agents of Atlas or anything, but like this newer stuff where we've been getting little bits of these Korean heroes, I thought have been pretty cool. This one in particular, obviously focuses on White Fox, and she is I can't remember what the word is. That might not even be right. I don't know. She's a fox. She can transform into a fox. Is her species. They look like the thing from Naruto. But again, I read this book several days ago, so I don't remember anymore. But I really enjoyed it. And it kind of goes into her backstory a little bit, and it talks about her potential and everything. So it was pretty cool. I thought that that she seems like a pretty interesting character, and I know they're kind of pushing some of these Korean characters more to be set up. Presumably we're going to be getting maybe some movies and stuff later on. I don't know. So moving on to Darkhold, Blackbolt. I've really been enjoying these one-shots that they've been doing. So the Alpha was whatever for me. Iron Man was incredible. Just one of the, literally, and I say this all the time, one of the best comics I've ever read. Blade was was probably the worst one. And not that it was bad, it's just it didn't follow the setup that the other ones have. Wasp was really good, and then now we're on Blackbolt, and Blackbolt put me in this strange feeling of the writing was I thought pretty solid. It just felt kind of like this shouldn't have been all of it, because obviously the one shot, and that's another thing that all these one shots don't necessarily really connect with each other. It almost feels like they just grabbed these different, because they're all different writers and everything, which is fine. They grab these different writers and they're like, make a dark Marvel story about this character, or maybe there were stories that they were trying to get going or whatever, and they're like, well, we don't know what to do with these. Let's just throw them all together into a Darkhold series. I don't know what happened, but it doesn't seem very cohesive, and that's okay, because again, like, I can enjoy the Iron Man comic and the Wasp comic as their own individual things. Like, individually, apart from Darkhold, they're really strong one-shot comics. And Blackbolt just felt like there should have been an additional, maybe like a 4-part miniseries or something. I'm a little conflicted. This should have either been I feel like this should have been issue number 1 or issue like number 4. And I don't know which one. When I first read it, I was like, yeah, there should be more after this. But then I started thinking about it later on. And it took me a few days of thinking about this, actually. And I was like, actually, maybe this should have been the ending. And we should have had more beforehand. I'm not sure. If you've been enjoying this series, definitely check it out. It's not the strongest one. Definitely better than Alpha and better than Blade. Not as good as the Wasp or the Iron Man one, I don't think. This one isn't, as far as like horror goes, this is more like existential crisis rather than, your typical horror, which overall this series hasn't really been typical horror anyway. Like I said, it's weird where it's done well, but I'm kind of uneasy on the thought that it's just this. I felt like if this was just a first issue, I'd be like, oh man, I'm ready to, jump into this. Or if it was, again, like the ending to like a little mini-series or something, I felt like it would have been an interesting conclusion. But again, like, I don't know, I can't fault it. It's not technically bad. It's very well done, very well written. I just don't necessarily feel like it's complete. I had a conversation with somebody else that read it, and they weren't as keen on it. But I don't know, man. You take it or leave it. I thought it was pretty cool, just not as good. Lower your expectations a little bit. Not as good as Iron Man, not as good as Wasp, I don't think. And then moving on to the last Marvel book, we have Phoenix Song Echo number 2, or is it Echo Phoenix Song? No, it's Phoenix Song Echo number 2. And this series has been pretty cool. We are introduced to, I think, a new character, a new villain in this. I'm not familiar with him, at least. I don't know. Maybe he's new, maybe he's not. And now we're kind of getting into a different... I didn't really know which direction this comic was going to go, and I think this is a miniseries. Pretty sure it's a miniseries. But I'm really excited for this character of Echo, so I'm just kind of like anything I can get right now. That, I'm very happy that they put out a new series with her. If you're watching Hawkeye, obviously you know that she's going to be in Hawkeye, which I'm going to stay up late tonight and watch that. So by the time you see this video, I've already watched Hawkeye, and I am probably also tired. But I'm just super excited. She's a cool character. And I think she was a cool character before, and now she's got Phoenix powers, and she's kind of dealing with that and learning how to not murder people and still be a hero, I guess. But yeah, and we're also kind of delving into her past and learning more about her backstory and stuff like that too, as you do with comics. So now we're going to move on to Star Wars. So a number of weeks ago, I accidentally forgot to read Star Wars Adventures number 10. I thought it was one of the little spin-off high adventure things, and I just haven't started any of those yet. But no, this is the just the main adventure series anyway. And I was like, oh man, I've been keeping up with that. I should have read that. So I read it, actually just very recently. And man, this issue's really good. Like this issue's really, really good. I'm kind of upset I didn't read it. Like I said, it was 2-3 weeks ago or whatever. So you have your character Court, who's been wearing this skull bone mask thing. It's basically his security blanket. It's a weird security blanket for his species, though. Like, they all wear it. They get mad and angry at a certain age, and they put that on, and it calms them. And so as you can see by the spoiler here on the cover, also this book is a little bit old now. His helmet or skull or whatever mask, it breaks. And it was really interesting and actually beautiful how they drew it from his perspective. And it's funny because these are little IDW series. It's much more kid friendly, and I taper my expectations to that, because obviously the IDW stuff is meant to be a little bit more fun, not so serious. But man, it actually blew me away with how beautiful. And they have it from his first person perspective of realizing that his mask is broken and everything. I'm not gonna, tell you what happens or anything, but like I said, obviously it happens from the cover. They get attacked in the issue before, so that's how it breaks. But man, it's a surprisingly beautiful book, and that's all I want to say about that one. I don't want to focus on it too much, especially since it is an older book from some time ago. And then we have High Republic Adventures number 11. And this one, we're kind of... It seemed like a bit of a dual purpose. We're kind of setting up themes for like the next little mini arc or whatever, next little thing that they're setting up, while also having a little bit of fun with the Jedi. You know, it's just one of those like, let's be a little goofy on this issue. Let's, you know, do some little fun stuff with the Jedi. However, there are some internal dialogues, and then also you see a little bit from the villains, and they're definitely setting some things up. So definitely a bit more of a build-up issue. But I've been enjoying this series. Overall, I'd say that I still probably have enjoyed Adventures more than just the regular High Republic series. I think there's been some pretty strong characters in this. And then a few more Star Wars books that I have not gotten around to reading yet because I'm dreadfully behind on all of my Star Wars books. This series I haven't even started, but we got Darth Vader number 18, and this was the C cover. A cover was pretty cool, but this C cover is absolutely gorgeous. Just a stunning, incredible book. And then the next one we have is Bounty Hunters number 18. Is that both number 18? Huh, one of the odds of that. But a very cool boss cover we got going on here. And again, a series that I just, you know, I need to get on. Then moving on into our DC portion. We got one book. Again, not a big DC guy, but I am reading Teen Titans Academy. And I don't know what number this is, number 8. It's very 8 focused right here on the past 3 books. But Teen Titans Academy number 8. To view or to summarize how I feel about this series so far, I really enjoyed it at the start. We were focusing on Red X and things were pretty interesting. I'm a big fan of the Teen Titans animated show, the original one. And Red X was a super cool character. I actually went back and rewatched that. I didn't realize that was only 1 episode. I could have sworn that was like, that went on for way longer. But I guess it's one of those things like as a kid that felt like an eternity. But it was just one, you know, like 25-minute episode or whatever. Anyway, rambling. So I really enjoyed the Red X stuff. Then he just disappeared for like 2 to 4 issues. I don't know. Probably it wasn't that. Probably it was just 2 issues. But it just felt so long because like you're building this character up. So many cool things were happening, and they're like, let's go take a vacation. And just like, and I just did not care. It was 2 issues about Gorilla and Greg Grodd, and I just couldn't care less. And it didn't feel like it fit into the story at all. I don't know why they decided to go that way. We are back though. Red X is in this one a little bit, and I gotta say, it was much more enjoyable than the other ones. There is another character. He doesn't show up on the cover. I will say this cover's a bit misleading, because it's like the haunting of Titan's Tower. And in that aspect, that thing doesn't even happen until the very end of the issue. There's a lot more going on in this issue, and then it sets up something for the next issue. But it makes it seem like a very spooky issue, and it's not at all. So it's a bit misleading, but whatever, that's fine, you know. There is another character, though, that does appear in here, that was pretty cool. Again, I'm not reading any other DC stuff. Actually, I don't think I'm reading any other... Well, I'm reading Harley Quinn animated, I guess. But I don't think I'm reading anything as far as, like, the main continuity goes. And, so there's a bit of drama that's brought up that I was not privy to. I had no idea about it. But again, I was able to follow along. So, I mean, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the character that they introduced in this comic. Very well-known character. But again, I don't want to get into spoilers right now. And then we're going to move on to our indie stuff, which was this one. It was bittersweet. You know, it always sucks when it's the last one of a really good miniseries that you've enjoyed. The Me You Love in the Dark. One of my absolute favorite comics I've ever read. It's just a 5-parter. This is issue 5. And I think the story, even though a lot of times there's not a lot of words in these issues, it's very minimal in dialogue, I think it's beautiful. I think Scotty Young has created just an amazing, amazing comic that has resonated so strongly with me. And I'm in love with it. I'm absolutely in love with this comic. again, especially like as someone that has dabbled in various of arts, I think it really speaks to the soul of an artist. It speaks in different ways as well. You could view this story as about being in a relationship and like a relationship with a significant other that, as time progresses and you get to learn the darker parts. Everybody's got stuff that they don't present. And sometimes you get into a relationship and find out, the person you're with is actually pretty terrible. And you find out all their dark secrets, or even if they're not terrible. Everybody's got different experiences, but sometimes it's just like, oh my God, this person is just irritating, or this or that, or whatever it is. Everybody's got something that you don't really know until time has made everyone comfortable with each other, and you get to learn what people are really like. But I also feel like you could flip this, because especially when I first started reading this, I viewed it more introspectively, and really thought, because again, it's about this chick Ro that she's a painter, and she goes to she wants this house where she can be a bit more secluded and find inspiration again. She's a very successful artist and has been looking for inspiration so she can start doing more work. And she goes to this house and starts painting. And there's this creature, this thing in the dark that is there, and at first kind of creeps her out, but she ends up falling in love with. And I think that you can kind of think of that as like maybe your inner self, and especially if you have any issues. We're not here to necessarily talk about mental health and whatever, but if you have issues, maybe accepting yourself or loving yourself, or just being happy with yourself, I feel like you can view this thing in the dark as your inner self or your inner conflict or struggle. And I don't know, I think there's a lot of ways you can look at this book and interpret this book, and I've loved this series so much. I love the way that it ended. It was a fantastic issue. I'm sad that it's over, but that's just the way it is. Sometimes I think the best things come to an ending, and that's where it leaves off. I don't assume that there will be any more after this. However, obviously, if Scotty Young does decide to pick this up again and do anything more with it, I'm 100% down, and I will check it out. But if it's just this 5-part miniseries, then it's perfect. It's I love it just the way it is. And then moving on to the mood goes way down here. I didn't finish this book, so we got Dark Blood number 5. And I've talked about this book before. Obviously, I've read it up until now. It's kind of cool, but I'm so sick and tired of its constant time jumping. It's one thing if you're just jumping around. Like, I like time jumps. I really do. And I feel like there's a lot of times, like in movies, where people get confused or this or that or whatever, and I like it. I think it works. I can keep up with it and I'm fine. But this one is just so frequent. And it's not a linear, it's like, not like we have time A, which is present time, and time B, which is whatever, 1985 or whatever the story is, and we're just going back and like figuring out parts of this story, and it's like piecing it together, and it can work together like this. This goes from present time to 10 years ago to 6 months ago to, and that's another thing. It says it'll be. It doesn't even tell you exactly when it is. It says it references time within this point called the variance. So it'll be, an hour before the variance, the night of the variance, 6 months before the variance, 10 years before the variance, and it's just such a confusing way to tell a story, and constantly changing. Whether, because it's not like it goes, it'd be one thing if it's keep jumping, but it's like, here's 10 years before present time, 10 years before the variance, present time, 8 years before the variance, it's just all over the place. It is so frustrating to read, and I want to enjoy the story, but I just can't. And I was reading this book, and I was bored. And if I'm bored, why am I reading it? Comics are supposed to be for fun, and I can't do it anymore. Part of me was holding out because I was already so far along into it. It's just a 6-part miniseries, but I'm done. I am actually just completely done with this series. And yeah, that's just the way it is sometimes. I haven't dropped too many books on this channel. If you've watched all my reviews on everything I've ever read, which granted, I don't read everything, and I try to pick things that I will enjoy. And I'm pretty good at it, but sometimes I make a fumble, and I can't do it with this book anymore. I can't do it. Which it really sucks. I didn't think about the order I put these books in the stack here. I mean, I only got 3 indie books this week, so it's going to happen anyway. But to go from just absolute high, just this masterpiece finale that was the Me You Love in the Dark, literally, maybe I have to think about it. I want to think about it really hard because I'm really obviously hyped up right now. I just read the book maybe an hour or two ago, so I'm very invested. I love the story so much. I'm gonna take some time and think about it and calm down, and try to think of it, very reasonably. But it could possibly be my favorite comic that I've ever read, as far as like a little series, or any series or whatever. It's so good. I really love it and highly suggest it. I think it is beaten Nice House on the Lake, which I really like. I'll have to go back and because I can't even think. Sometimes there's books that you love and it's like, oh, okay, how could I not think of that one? I'm looking at posters on my wall now. I really like Noctera, but it's not one of my favorites. Geiger's really good. It's not one of my absolute favorites. But yeah, The Me You Love in the Dark might be my favorite book I've ever read. We'll get back to that. I don't know when. But anyway, and then but going from that absolute high that I was, and then trying to read this, and I was just like, God, I don't care. I really just don't care anymore. The last book I picked up, we got Maniac of New York. This The Bronx is Burning. I have this entire series, and I think this is just a one-shot. It's, whatever, like a 5-part miniseries, and this is like a follow-up or something, I guess. I don't know. Because I haven't read the series. I've heard good things about it. I've picked it all up. It's one of those things. It's in a box of things that I need to get around to. But that's my last book for today. Some highs, some lows. But most importantly, please do not forget, leave a comment. Let me know what you're reading. Let me know if you're reading something that I'm reading, you agree, disagree, this or that or whatever. If there's something I'm not reading that you're absolutely in love with, yell at me about it. Maybe I'll get around to it. I have a bajillion other books I need to read, but maybe if enough people yell at me enough times, I'll add more books onto my list. And when you leave your comments, you're going to be entered into my giveaway at 600 subscribers. I'm giving away these sweet books, so don't forget. I'm going to shove this down your throat. Make sure you don't forget. Make sure you do remember. That is the opposite of don't forgetting. Or, yeah, that is what I said, and that is what I meant. Thank you all so much for watching the video. That's going to be it for today, and I will see you all next time. Ha ha ha!